Trudeau says that tracking Canadians with their cell phones is on the table. Guys, this is how they're going to find out if you're congregating with more than 5 people. It's already happening, in fact, in 11 other countries who are now using people's phones to track the coronavirus pandemic, and it heralds a massive increase in surveillance. The City of Toronto has already announced that they are gathering cell phone location data from telecoms in a bid to slow the spread of COVID-19. And then the very following day, the mayor retracted those claims, saying that the city is now not collecting cell phone location data in the COVID-19 fight. Meanwhile, robots and drones are now being used to fight COVID-19. You may already be aware of this. Drones are being used to enforce lockdown, like in places like in India, where now more people are being booked for violating the orders. But what you may not have known about, guys, is this right here. They have developed a pandemic drone to monitor and detect those with COVID-19. We're talking this thing can monitor your heart rate, your respiratory rates. It can detect if you're sneezing or coughing in a crowd. Guys, this is getting to an Orwellian nightmare beyond what we could have even imagined. And what this is actually leading towards is this grand agenda of the ID 2020, where they want to have everybody in the world digitally tracked, ultimately so they can gain more control over every single person in the world. You know, when the government launches these apps, it's not because they want to control you, it's because they want to protect you. Just like when the BC government launched this COVID-19 support app. You know, you can use this to self-assess. They have a tool there that can help residents decide if they need to seek coronavirus testing. Well, I can pretty much guarantee you, folks, if you get this app and if you even explore the tool that would try to educate you as to whether or not you had the virus, they will be tracking you, and you may soon find yourself on lockdown. So in today's video, we're going to be covering this story about the cell phones. We're going to be getting into the pandemic drones that are going to being developed, but we're also going to look at some solutions and how you can stay ahead of the game by utilizing things like this, the COVID-19 Digital Rights Tracker. This live tracker documents new measures introduced in response to COVID-19 that pose a risk to digital rights around the world. So we're going to get into all that and much more, guys. But just before we do, I'd ask that you check out this GoFundMe campaign called PFT Demonetized. If I had $1 for every subscriber, we could make the MSM obsolete. And that is indeed the goal. Guys, I've been 100% demonetized by Google because they don't like the information that I'm sharing on this platform. So if this is the kind of information you'd like to support, you can do so by clicking the link right here on the screen or in the description below. Any amount helps, so please check out the links in the description below if you want to support this channel moving forward. All right, so in George Orwell's 1984, he envisioned a nightmarish futuristic world where technology was being used to subdue an already very passive population, but when some of them would get out of line here and there, the technology was used to pick out the dissenters and to squash them. Well, we are very, very close to being on that reality. We're fast tracking towards this nightmarish Orwellian nightmare very quickly, as we now see things like this becoming a reality. Trudeau says that tracking Canadians with their cell phones is now on the table. The Liberal government says that using location tracking technology is not totally off the table. I think we recognize that in an emergency situation, we need to take certain steps that wouldn't be taken in a non-emergency situation. But as far as I know, that's not a situation that we are looking at right now. Meanwhile, the City of Toronto's mayor said that they were doing this. City of Toronto is obtaining cell phone data from wireless carriers to help it identify where people have assembled in groups. Parts of it, as part of its attempt to slow the spread of COVID-19, Mayor John Tory said on Monday. And then the very following day, he retracted those claims. And I'll spare you from reading through the article, but in a nutshell, he basically just says, I didn't mean we're actively doing it. What I meant to say was that we're just looking at this as a possibility. And then we have Trudeau come out and say, as far as I know, this is not a situation that we are looking at right now. Well, guys, they clearly are, and it should be concerning to you as it is to these people in these 11 other countries. Governments across the world are galvanizing every surveillance tool at their disposal to help stem the spread of the novel coronavirus. Countries have been quick to use the one tool almost all of us carry with us, our smartphones. And it's not just the phones that we have to worry about moving forward. As we see here, robots and drones are now being used to fight COVID-19. The entire country of India now is dealing with a drone technology. It's not loading up here, but you saw it before. They are using drone technology to track their citizens who are roaming around in the streets during the lockdown. And if any of these people have contracted the virus, they're going to be in serious trouble if they're caught by these drones. But this is where it gets Orwellian and downright scary. This pandemic drone has been created to monitor and detect those with COVID-19. Dragonfly will integrate a breakthrough health diagnosis onto cameras and UAVs to combat coronavirus. In a rush to combat the global spread of the deadly coronavirus, in the US, Dragonfly will deploy pandemic drones to remotely monitor and detect people with infectious and respiratory conditions to help stop the spread of the disease. The Dragonfly drones will be fitted with a specialized sensor and computer vision system that can monitor temperature, heart and respiratory rates, as well as detect people sneezing and coughing in crowds and other places where groups of people may work or congregate. Dragonfly will serve as a global systems integrator for the Vital Intelligence Project, a health and respiratory monitoring platform, yada, yada, yada. This is who's doing it. But this is what it can do. The sensoring system uses existing new camera networks, UAVs, and remotely piloted aircraft systems for health monitoring and detecting of infectious and respiratory conditions, including monitoring temperatures, heart rates, and respiratory rates. The drones can monitor people in public crowds, workforces, airlines, cruise ships, convention centers, border crossings, or critical infrastructure facilities. The technology can also be used to monitor potential at-risk groups such as seniors in care facilities. The Dragonfly demonstration video below shows the camera detecting not only temperature, heart rate, and respirations, but also when a person is coughing, as we see from the video demonstration, can be easily picked up. Under this exclusive contract initiated and budgeted at $1.5 million, Dragonfly will use its engineering, its integration and distribution expertise, as well as its secure supply chain for immediate commercialization and development of the technology. So this is real, guys. They're dishing this out now. Dragonfly is honored to work on such important projects given the current pandemic facing the world with COVID-19. Again, these things are being rushed through extremely quickly with little to no questions about the serious ramifications of this. You know, it reminds me of the G20 in Toronto when that came. And the police started putting up CCTV cameras everywhere and saying, don't worry, this is just a temporary thing that we're going to deal with because we know what's coming. We want to track it and monitor it. But don't worry, after this is faded away, we'll get rid of them. And they never did. The cameras stayed there. They stayed there forever. It was a big lie that they were going to go away. So when people say we need new temporary legislation or new temporary technology to deal with this crisis now in emergency time, well, you better believe it's going to stick around for quite some time. And as I said, this is all moving towards a bigger global agenda. And that's what we get into when we look at ID 2020. Check out id2020.org. We need to get digital ID right, they say. And what do they want to do? Is they want to get the 1.1 billion people who are currently unbankable, as they call it, to have a digital identity. And who is involved with this whole thing? Well, here are the key players, guys. You have Microsoft. Obviously, we know, as we've been covering on this channel, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation are heavily involved with the vaccine industries who are developing the vaccine for COVID-19. He's been funding a lot of the companies that are in the race for that. They're also working with Accenture. This alliance draws on advances in biometrics and innovative technologies and brings together expertise from business, government, and non-government agencies. And the third one, ladies and gentlemen, is Gavi, the Vaccine Alliance. So here we have digital biometrics coupling up with the Vaccine Alliance, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation with Microsoft to develop a way to digitally track everyone in the world. Guys, what we're literally talking about here is technology being implanted into the vaccines that would be able to detect if you've gotten the virus or not. And if you have this, they'll have other technology that can scan whether or not you have the vaccine, or whether you not you have the virus, and whether or not you should be put on lockdown and under strict quarantine. Guys, as me and James Corbett discussed in my video from yesterday, this is going to be clearly used by governments to squash dissenters and to silence anyone who goes against the status quo. Let me guess, there's probably a banner under this video right now coming from some official government saying that this is somehow fake news, and if you want real information about COVID, click here and go to our governmental website. Guys, they're going to be clamping down on this information very soon, in the very near future, and that's another very real reality to how they're going to use technology to so-called fight COVID-19. They're going to squash the dissenters, and they're going to find out who amongst you is worthy to be locked up, and they'll just use the coronavirus as the excuse to do so. So, I mean, when you see that 11 other countries around the world are currently dealing with this, Toronto suggested they're going to do it, and then tracked back and said, no, we're not actually going to do that. But you know, we know that Trudeau said it's on the table, so they are looking at doing this. Drones are already being implemented in other countries around the world, but now they're taking it to the extent of these pandemic drones. This is a massive violation of our privacy, guys, but people seem to be just taking it, you know, just accepting this because it's all for the greater good of the whole. You know, governments are here to protect us, right? Again, don't buy into that, guys. Don't use things like the COVID support app that governments are now launching to try to see who is trying to find out if they have it or not. Because as we've already shown you guys, they are going to be tracking people. They are coming for this. It's not only on the table, it's going to be a reality very soon. I'm telling you that. So don't get the app. You know, in fact, you know, stay away from a lot of this technology in general. Certainly turn your TV off and continue to tune into alternative sources of information who are bringing you this stuff that you're not hearing from the mainstream. So I just wanted to bring all this to your attention today, guys. Be sure you check out this top10vpn.com COVID-19 digital rights tracker. This is where we get into how we're going to defeat this moving forward. We see here, since the outbreak of COVID-19, governments around the world have implemented a range of digital tracking, physical surveillance, and censorship measures in a bid to slow the spread of the virus. Some of these may well be proportionate, necessary, and legitimate during these unprecedented times. However, others have been rushed through legislative bodies and implemented without adequate scrutiny. And these are the guys who are scrutinizing this, guys. We have the digital tracking aspect. As governments around the world implement measures to help slow the spread of the virus, many have turned to digital tracking initiatives to help monitor their populations. Measures have included the use of aggregated mobile location data to track citizens during lockdowns, apps designed to help identify the location of those with the virus, and the development of advanced mobile monitoring technologies. Below is a reverse chronological list of confirmed digital tracking measures being adopted around the world, and these are all the countries that are currently doing this, guys. You have physical surveillance. In an attempt to slow the spread of COVID-19, governments around the world are also adopting increasingly extensive physical surveillance measures. These include the deployment of facial recognition cameras equipped with heat sensors, surveillance drones used to monitor citizens' movements, and extensive CCTV networks in a bid to help enforce the curfews. And here's all the countries that are currently doing it. And then we have censorship, guys. Since the outbreak of COVID-19, there's been a rapid acceleration in the spread of mis- and disinformation. According to a recent document seen by Reuters, for example, Russia media outlets have been involved in a significant disinformation campaign, allegedly, in quotes, in an attempt to worsen the impact of the virus. To control this, governments and social media platforms have sought to stringently regulate online content and promote official facts and figures from international health organizations. However, several governments have also co-opted the rise of mis and disinformation to justify censorship practices, which seek to silence critics and control the flow of information. This is exactly what I've been talking about, and it's all been chronologically documented on where this is happening. So I will include a link to that in the description below, guys. Be sure you check it out. It's an excellent resource, something we need in this current trying times. We need to stay 2 steps ahead as they are currently using technology, as we've clearly shown here today, to clamp down on our rights and our ability to remain private. So guys, if you appreciated the information in this video, please click the thumbs up button, leave a comment, and share this one with your friends and family. And stay tuned. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dix reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.